I'm not going to get the people I want to come here because the rest of the block looks terrible. Across the street, there was another lot with piled up tires and junk, and down the block, there were ruined buildings. So I convinced this investor and other investors to come in and broaden. We need to change we need to buy up all these properties, and we need to create our own community.
So you started this project. How many units was it?
So the first project was 15 units.
Wow. You didn't even go from 1 to 4. You just went straight to 15.
No, it was 15 units.
Why this project specifically?
Because those were the properties I was able to afford. The minute you went up to 4th Avenue, the property more than doubled, tripled in price.
Oh, wow.
So
what was the purchase price of this property?
So the purchase price of this property was like $1 million, I think 1.1 million. At the same properties that were trading on 4th Avenue were like $3.5 million. So for me, that $3.5 million wasn't attainable. Don't ask me why the million was attainable.
Right.
But $1 million, you feel okay. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen.
And you when you borrowed, you basically took out credit card lines.
And from there, I was able to raise money, and to get. And again,
what was your first check from an investor, if you recall?
It wasn't a check; it was a wire. And the investor was so excited about it that he asked me for my account information, my routing information. He's going to think about it and let me know. The next day, he calls me, tells me, check your account. The funds, because I needed the additional. How much was it? I think it was $75,000 because that was the missing that I needed to put down for the down payment for the contract to get.
So it was 10%.
So it was the 10% that I needed to get down. So
did you give him any equity, or is it kind of like we'll talk about it later?
Yeah. And this is something I want to share also. This is we can talk about this in its own. My issue, this investor, was he got so excited, he gave me the money, and then he kept funding whatever I needed. And I always said with him, okay, so I have the paperwork, let's sit down, let's sign everything up, And he used to say, I don't understand why you're rushing here. I'm the one giving you the money. I trust you. You don't have to trust me, right?
And who was this guy? Was he
It was a big mistake. But we'll talk about it later on because after we were doing multiple projects, he came back one day and he wanted me to do something else and change. And he said no. And he said, I don't understand. You work for me. You do what I tell you to do.
The change.
It changed because he decided that he wants to change it. That now he says I'm his employee. Because in the end, there was no signed documents.
Let's not get into that yet.
I don't want to get into that part. But it worked out in the end. It wasn't an issue. It was resolved. But it's so. If I want to give advice, I don't care who gives money, what gives money. Don't start any partnerships. Don't do anything until you have everything agreed, at least in some form of writing with a lawyer, with somebody, because otherwise you're gonna get hurt in the end.
Interesting. So let's get. I guess we'll pocket. What I want to do is I want to pocket your first actual investment. Your first actual investment with this lender. Does he have a name, or do we want to give him a name?
You talking about investor?
I'm sorry, the investor.
So no, I don't want to use a name.
We'll call him Tony. Okay.
Yes.
So Tony and you do the investment, and it's a 15-unit building. It's in Brooklyn. It was your first investment into the real world of real estate.
Right.
So tell me the process about how that worked out, or it didn't work out. Tell me, did you make a profit? Did you exit it successfully? What were some of the issues that were attendant to it? Tell me about that.
So the project itself was very exciting. It was very different. It stuck out from the whole area like a sore thumb. And I realized very fast that I'm not going to get the people I want to come here because the rest of the block looks terrible. across the street, there was another lot with piled up tires and junk, and down the block, there were ruined buildings. So I convinced this investor and other investors to come in and broaden. We need to change we need to buy up all these properties, and we need to create our own community. At that time, the company was called the Pacific Blue.
Your company, it wasn't called Hello Living.
No, it was called Pacific Blue.
That was the original.
That was the original
entity.
And I wanted to create a community. And how do I create the community? So I made different amenities in each building. One had a business center, one had a kids' playroom, one had a theater, one had a pool, billiards rooms.
Different buildings?
Different buildings on the block. And then I created the key fob system that it's a shared amenities. And my slogan was, say hello to a new way of living, shared amenities. This was my slogan. And I ran with it from 2005 till around 2008. In 2008, blogging started then, real estate blogging. I think the first one was Brownstoner. They started the blogging.
The Brownstoner, yes.
And all of a sudden, one day I read about myself and it says like this: the guy from Hello Living, because my slogan had hello in bold to a new way of living. The guy from Hello Living is starting another project that he's adding to the community. And I said, wow, I love that name. Hello Living. And that day I made myself an LLC and a website and
everything.
And everything.
So you tried to essentially ingratiate Hello Living in the shared amenity
I saw
space.
how he looks at me and how they were viewing Brownstoner, the way I'm doing it. And I said, this is exactly what I want. This is, community. And the way he was pitching it, I thought to myself, wow, this is such good marketing. I wouldn't be able to pitch it as good as he's writing it.
And how long into your, I guess, real estate career did he actually write about you?
Within 3 years.
Within 3 years.
So for real estate, 3 years is basically, that's when the first projects are coming to fruition.
So Pacific Blue was the little germ that became a little bit of like a flower.
Yes.
I'm assuming you successfully exited or kept
it was a tremendous, it was very profitable. We ended up selling out at, they were predicting originally at 300 a foot, and I was hoping I'm going to get 500, and I got more 6 and 650. I literally competed with I was selling for the same price that they were selling on 4th Avenue at the time.
Wow.
So, and again.
And it worked out.
It worked out way better than I expected.
What was the amenity in that building?
So the first amenity it was like the first WeWork business center that I created then, and you can hook up your laptops, and there was a big projector, you were able to use it. If you wanted to throw a party, this was also the party room. And what I found in the end, it's interesting, that nobody really used the amenity spaces the way I predicted people will. But
why?
But they all showed off. So I used to use a lot the amenity because I used to hang out there. I used to meet with people I wanted to show off. Right? These were very successful. And I used to watch people that just bought apartments showing it off to their parents and they would come in and say, this is the billiards room, this is with the gym, this is like...
They would walk the block?
And they would walk the block around to show that by purchasing a condo in this building, now I have access to all these buildings. It becomes like a shared space. And it really worked. It brought people. It became... Then I made it, and they still continue this, block parties. So once a week, in the beginning, I sponsored them. We closed down the street, and we had events for the kids, and people came from all over. It became like the community space. It became like and they still do it today. I'm not involved because everything is sold out.